Hello, Paul Sabo, Christian minister and servant of Jesus Christ. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the channel today. We have an important video we're going to do today. As you see by the cover, it's going to talk about woman power and how Satan is laughing at you is what it's called. But we're going to get into a lot deeper than that. And I wanted to start off by saying that this video is not in any way against women, not in any way, nor is it against men. However, there's an important lesson here in the Bible, some that truth has been given to me on, and I've been called to share it with you. On a lot of things I see in today's world that are totally against the way things were a long time ago, and it's one of the reasons why we have a lot of problems we have in the world today. Those things leading up to a lot of, I see all over the place a lot of things. Well, as far as men goes, this young generation, and the women are complaining about it nonstop. All they want to do, they don't take care of their families. They just want to play video games. I saw in the news the other day how stay-at-home fathers are just completely increasing, and women are, doing the show. And I want to add on this that I'm not mixing any opinions in with this. All I'm doing is talking biblical truth and the truth that was given to me. So please keep that in mind as we take this lesson. But I see women, always a lot. Not all women, no. Nothing I'm going to talk about today is going to be everything, everyone. It's going to be a general and an increasing thing, is what we're talking about today. I see many girls, women, whatever, talking about, woman power. And that's something that's been going on a long time, is what it is. We're going to take all this and break it down and explain the reasons for it, how Satan is behind it, and we can learn all this biblically. But in order for you to gain from this, it's going to be an awesome lesson. I mean, in all honesty, if by the time I'm done with this lesson, you should be able to, if you follow me through on this, be able to understand so much about what has went on from over the last 50, 75 years, to where we are today, and how a lot of problems are coming from it. It's a very important lesson. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. I could easily make a whole documentary on this, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, and I'm going to give it to you as it was given to me. But in order to gain from this, I want to add, and it's going to be hard to do. You're going to have to basically live in the Spirit. You're going to have to take and have a clean slate and just start off with a blank, with no opinions, and forget anything that has came from the ways of this world or anything in today's and anything in your life, and just start. We're going to start from the beginning. So as we start from the beginning with man and woman, because man and women are both involved in this conversation, and we're going to start from the beginning. So you're going to have to start from the beginning and just be able to look at it with a clean slate. So, okay, all right, let's just jump right into this. Now, to start off, and this will all come together by the end, trust me. But we have to go through this process in order for you to completely understand it. This is how it's given to me, so I'm going to give it to you. Okay, in the beginning, now, when God created man and woman, this is something that Satan has inspired many people to believe, that man is dominant to woman, better than woman, more powerful, no. That is totally false. Biblically, man and women are equal, completely 100% equal. They fit together like a puzzle. I'm sure you can figure that out, to create more offsprings. And there's differences, but the differences fit together beautifully and perfectly. They should. Now, again, this is in general. Now, there are different kinds of men and there are different kinds of women. But let's just jump into this with a Bible verse. I'm going to show you a section of the Bible to prove this. I always prove my ministry. We're going to look at Genesis 1, the beginning of the first book in the Bible. Genesis 1, verses 27 through 28. And, of course, this is the King James Version, the original word for word of the original scriptures. It says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth." See right there. After Adam and Eve were created, what did he tell them? He didn't say just a man. He didn't say, no, Adam, you got dominion over the earth. No, 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 no. He said to both of them, you as mankind, man and woman, have dominion over the earth to populate it, control it. Now, after they ate the apple, they lost this dominion. Okay, Satan gained it. That's why Satan is, and this will fit into our study today, Satan is the god of this world, is called, or the prince of this world in the scriptures, because that was something that they lost that when they turned over to sin through Satan, which we're going to get into that. But very important, you see, equal. And the thing about it, something to think about throughout this study, I could include 500 Bible verses and 25 sections of the Bible to support what I'm going to say right now, but I'm sure you can understand this. Even though they were equal, like I said, they fit together like a puzzle, but they were different. Okay, now this here is going to be where it's going to be hard for you to not get mad and to not include things that Satan has inspired over the generations and of this world, because I see it today. Today I see it to where if a man, and I've actually experienced it, if a man wants to take and pay for his girl, they're looking at, oh no, and it's just, everything has been all, Satan has made it all mixed up, and that's what we're going to learn why. We're going to learn why in this video today. All right, now, again, it's so common for you to look at things in this bad way to where women have been beat up is what I'm trying to get at. Satan has beat up women and made them feel lesser. He's done it through the inspirations, and we're going to find out here in a minute how and why all this. But I don't want you to get the wrong impression here. I'm not, and it's going to seem like I'm aiming toward man being better. But let's take a look at something that happened recently in the news today. News, not today, but you get it. Remember when the transsexual, and we're not here to talk about gays or transsexuals, but I'm just using this as an example. When the transsexual, it was a male body, okay, started competing in the Olympics, in the women's section. Well, that made man mad, that made woman mad, that made everybody, I think, mad. Well, I think God did that for a reason. He was trying to show us that men and female are different. Now, nowhere from the very beginning is anyone better, but they were different. Okay, now don't get me wrong, there are women that are stronger than some men, there are, etc. But this is an example of when you take the elite, the people, take the elite, the final line of people who train, the male body was designed to be strength to us, more strength to us. Okay, it doesn't mean he's better, just different. You got to understand that, it's so easy in today's world. People say, well, just because you're white, just because you're black, no, okay, that's true, and I agree 100%. But why can't it be, the same with male and female? But see, I'll tell you why. Because Satan has been beating up females, and through him being the god of this world, we're going to get into this. I don't want to get too far ahead, but he's just made it to where females have to look like they have to feel like they're lesser, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to see into this. But the thing to remember is, now, in this marriage, this original relationship between male and female, okay, and we're going to show this here in the next, I have 4 sections of the Bible we're going over. The next couple are, but the final one is going to put all this together. Now, in the biblical marriage, okay, all right, now, as we know, male and female are different. Now, nothing better. One high point, I just said, the male strength's robotic. But there are so many benefits to a woman, so many ways that, now again, there are different kinds of women, all this. Well, in today's world, it's went crazy. So we're looking back. We're starting at the beginning here. Women had so many benefits. I mean, they were so loving, so caring. They're perfect with the children. And I know that's going to blow you up. You're like, oh, a woman doesn't have to have the job of staying home. We're not talking about... First of all, when God created all this, never was it a law. But he was trying to let people know how he created and built man, and how he created and built women, and how they were different and how they work together. So the way women were built, they were built gentler. They were built, probably I would say, more loving. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, but I understand there's possibilities and differences. But here's the thing: when the marriage of man and women, everything I'm trying to say here, this is what people believed, and this is what people went with as their standards. Understand? Okay, like for instance, I understand some men are stronger than some men. Some women are stronger than some women are stronger than some men. But whatever. But see, this marriage, this combination, is what people looked for and what they tried to achieve when they were putting together their family. Okay, for instance, maybe a stronger woman wouldn't be a perfect fit for a less stronger man. But you get what I'm saying? I mean, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that some women are stronger than women, some men are stronger than women, some women are stronger than men, etc., etc. But they kept this in mind, and men was given. Now, this is going to make you mad, but it's true. Given, you always have to have someone who to say the final decision. Let's say you work at a factory. Well, you gotta have a supervisor. I don't want to say a boss. I don't want to word it like that because that isn't how it was meant biblically. You have to have somebody to say the final decision. Okay. If not, it just doesn't work. And I don't care. You're gonna argue that, I'm sure. But I'm just telling you the way it was set up, God's intentions, and it makes sense as a creator to do this. Now, again, understand, when I say that the man said the final decision, he was basically like, I don't want to say the supervisor. You get what I'm saying? Somebody has to make the final decision. Well, see, this man who was making this final decision, now and again, so many variations could happen from it, but the intentions of it was that when this man made this final decision, he was in charge of making the final decision, he would realize that men and women are equal. And there'd be many times that he may have made a decision because of the woman's, so really it was the woman making a decision, but still it was the man's job to make that final decision, to say, okay, this is the final decision. Okay. And he created man outside to be better at being able to do that originally. Now, don't get me wrong, with all this crap that's went on over the last 56 years, many men aren't even able to even doing that today, but that's what we're trying to learn today. So let's stay focused now. So we understand this now. We understand that men and women are equal. Men was in charge of doing the final decision, and they're both important equally, fit together like a puzzle, both needed. And when man made this final decision, it was in consideration of both. It was just that somebody has to make the final decision. Okay, and I mean, and I know it's so hard to not look at, wow, the man is better, the man must be greater because he has the strength. No. And I'll tell you what, I'm a real strong dude, man, and everything like that. But I'll tell you what, I had to raise a baby from 2 months old, stuff like that. And right now, I'm trying to take care of a couple of years. I'll tell you what, I mean, the important. If any man doesn't appreciate the importance of what a woman position biblically, now I understand today's world, a lot of things are different, and everything. We're talking about from the original. Can't understand that. He's been corrupted too. He's been corrupted. I mean, he's been filled with pride and all kinds of BS. But we're not going to get into that. Let's move on. Now we're going to get into back when Adam and Eve ate the apple. This is going to bring, it's all going to come together here in the end. Trust me. Just stick with me. Okay. Adam and Eve ate the apple. Now let's look at what happened here, the punishment. Well, first of all, now we know man makes the final decisions. This is a very important part of the lesson. So how did Satan get man to be guilty of eating that apple? He didn't go to man. Because man was, and again, I understand that in today's world you don't see this and it's hard to find, but I'm talking about originally. Originally, before everything that we're going to learn happened, man was created to be harder to be deceived. That's why he was put in charge of making the final decision. Okay, but how did Satan get through to man to where male and female lost dominion of the earth? He went through Eve. Okay, mind you, when they were created, man was created first. Man was the one that named the animals, stuff like that, and then afterwards, God's like, well, you need a helper, companion, somebody to work with you, a marriage, a joint helper. they will be equal. So that's why he created a woman. Well, a woman come up just before the apple thing, so, it doesn't mean that she's any less better or anything. It was just coincidentally the way it happened. So Satan knew this, so he went through Eve to get to Adam. Let's look at this in the Bible. We're going to take a look at Genesis verse 3:12. It says, this is when God was talking to them, and there's like, what happened? Like, Adam, why'd you eat the apple? Here's what Adam said. The man said, the woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate it. Then the Lord said to the woman, what is that you have done? The woman said, the serpent deceived me, and I ate it. You see this? All right. This here is very important. And this is going to, by the end of this video, it's going to make total sense. And you're going to be able to tell and look back and see how this all comes. And if you're thinking that, wow, well, this is the first man in the world, this ain't going to do with today's world, trust me, I'll make it fit in. You'll see. Okay, so now we know that how Satan worked in that case. And Satan works in patterns. Okay, keep that in mind. Now we're going to look at the punishments. The punishments of what was what happened to man and then to woman. And this is where things are going to start getting good. Okay, first of all, to man. Genesis 3:17 through 19. This was when God was punishing man for eating the apple. He said, cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat it all of the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth to you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. Thy sweat of your face shall eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. That was God angered by them eating the apple, and that's what he said to man. So what this says is man, as I've told you, had a male position with the marriage. Doesn't mean that, anything that, like, it doesn't mean that just a woman just sat there and baked bread. It was just the male was the main person in charge of making sure everybody was protected, stuff like that, and did the strong lifting, the strong labor. Doesn't mean a woman couldn't even help, nothing like that. Ain't what it's saying. It's just saying that, but what do you do to punish man that's why if you look at the creation, originally there weren't weeds, there's a lot of changes, but that's why we have weeds. That's why it's just thistles and, so he made it harder for man to do his job, is what the point of this is. Man had a male job in the marriage and in life, whatever. He made that harder for man, okay? Harder for a man to do his job. That was his punishment. Now, this is probably the most important part of the video right here. We're going to take a look at what the female punishment was, how Eve got punished for eating this apple. Now, this is probably one of the most important Bible verses in the Bible. Let's take a look at this. To the woman, he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbirth. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. Okay, now, very important here. Okay, the childbirth thing, we get that. But here's the main thing. People don't understand the second part here. Your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. Now, when it says rule over you, that's basically just talking about the male was in charge of making the final decision. Now, again, it doesn't mean that he's any better. And it's so hard with all the corruption that's went on with the way Satan is used, to where people look at that and they're like, well, then we're not as good. No, that isn't how it works. You got to have too many chiefs. You have to have somebody make the final decision. I don't care. And if you don't understand that, then you're looking at anarchy. I mean, honestly. But anyways, your desire shall be contrary to your husband. What this is saying, if you research and study this verse from the original Hebrew scriptures, etc., I'm not going to make this Bible study video about this verse, but this is what it said. God was making woman desire man's position and making that final decision. God was making woman desire man's job. Okay? But now, mind you, this was a punishment. This didn't mean that it was going to affect anything. It was just going to suck for her. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean, anything like that, because they still lived with understanding everything I'm trying to teach you about this marriage and how they're equal. They both understood they were equal and everything. It wasn't like that, but there was this desire. you know. Now, we're going to put all this together now. Here's what has happened. Satan knows this. He knows all this. And he knows that if we think we're equal, I see people thinking, I'm a Satan, I'm from the dark, and all. You don't even know what the dark is, man. Trust me, you wouldn't like it. And there ain't nothing but hate and evil. Satan hates every single one of us. Tremendous, like at levels you don't even understand, at a level above us. He hates us all. He's trying to separate us all. He's done it between trying to separate whites and black. He's trying to separate it between man and woman, and he's trying to separate our regular households, this joining where we all believe we're equal. See, we're supposed to understand the truth, which is there's only one greater, and that's Jesus Christ, our Lord God. Other than that, we're all equal. But see, Satan doesn't want us to believe that. You know what I mean? He wants, as evil unleashed especially. So what has he done? What he's been doing for generations, and that's one of the only final benefits of age getting behind me, is I've watched it. And he has beat women down. And because of this, and he's magnified their punishment for eating that apple to where women feel so weak and so little. And what has happened is, this inspirations of Satan is greater than the mind, the human mind. It's made women say, "No, I'm strong. I don't need man. This is what it's evolved to. I'm going to use the word evolve. I don't believe in evolution, but this is where it slowly went through. And what we have today is instead of having everybody wanting this original. Like I told you, the stronger women might need a stronger man. Now we have women looking for weaker men just so they can be the boss. And we have men saying, because men, what happens is, as women has done man's job, man's like, that's cool, man. You want to do it? You do it. I'll sit at home and watch the kids, man. You know what I mean? Because men don't have this inspiration. Satan's been beating up on the women, and he's filling them, with pride and all this, and he's magnifying this, and the women want it more than the men, and if you look at how this has slowly slipped away, what we've done is we've slipped away from this normal marriage, and we've went to where all men are like, well, you want to do it, you do it. I'll sit on watch, and women are like, well, and it's embedded in them anyways as their punishment, and Satan has been pounding them and making them feel weak. And then how has he used this? Well, first of all, he's taken and he's killed this original. Now, that's why I'm saying you can't see it in today's world, but how a man was originally created to be less deceived. Now men are easily deceived. That's why I'm saying, it's at the beginning, it's going to make it towards the end, It's like, because I know it's so hard to even understand. And then with the corruptions and influences of Satan, it makes it look like, well, you're just trying to say man's better than woman. No, because it's going to reverse. That's what we're doing now. We're showing you how it has reversed. And that's why now it's just a total mess. And, nobody wants this normal thing. I ain't saying nobody. Whenever I say nobody, I'm talking about an increasing popularity. There's a lot of people out there that still live like this and everything. So don't mistake me. I'm just don't try to look for bad in me. Just try to learn what can be learned here. Because I'm sure you can see what I'm talking about. Now, and then how has he used this outside of bringing down man? Well, I'll tell you right now. One of the things in the Bible that mistaught and inspired by Satan is certain things. See, in order to, because God knows the beginning from the end, he knew this was going to happen. So he did certain things that were not made to make man any better, but it was made to support man in making that final decision. And that's why he made it where like men were the one that did the teaching. And they said that women weren't supposed to be like pastors and ministers. And certain things like that, there were separations. He did it. But now, mind you, only in today's world do we look at this and say, oh, well, the man. No, that is not how it was looked at. They were equal, and they knew it, but they were different. And that's the thing. Today's, and Satan's the prince of this world, you look at, he's used the government to do this too. Why do you think, we had all the women's rights things? Because the governments were saying, well, women can't vote. They can't. What do you mean they can't vote? Women was given dominion of the earth originally. So why wouldn't a woman be able to vote? Stuff like that. Satan has been pounding on women and firing them up and putting them against man. And that's what I'm trying to show you here today. And it's the truth. And it's nothing against women. You're not doing anything wrong. And actually, I mean, we can look at it all crazy, you know. I mean, man, if anybody's doing it wrong, it's probably man, you know, because they're the ones getting lazy and letting it happen, you know. But that there has been inspired by Satan too. That's why, that's why you should love everybody, you know, and understand that people don't understand how much we're influenced spiritually. Whether you can be an unspiritual person, it doesn't mean that you're not involved in spiritual things, because there are influences and all kinds of stuff that happens spiritually amongst us that, whether you know it about it or not, is the truth. And I'm just telling you that, oh yeah, back on what I was saying, how he has used this with women. Okay, I've watched you look at the newest of Christian denominations that are complete false churches. It's the Pentecostal church. Total BS. Anybody's a Pentecostal church, I've done videos on it. I don't care if I make you mad or not. I'm telling you the truth. You all are studying false gospels, and you're going to be led to hell through, and excuse me, but I'm telling the truth. It was started by women, which is totally unbiblical. You have a woman starting a false church. Now, I ain't knocking women. I'm just telling the truth. This is how Satan has inspired and twisted things and how he's used it to his advantage. I look at so many of today's people that are with the pagan religions. Why are they with these pagan religions? With Wicca, we can go on. Why? They're feminists. They're feminists. But what's wrong with being a feminist? I'll tell you what's wrong with being a feminist. Because we're supposed to be equal. There's supposed to be only one greater. So it's no different than if man were to walk around saying, yeah, women are nothing, man, it's a man's world. It's no different. That would suck, and I agree it would suck. But when I see women doing it, the only thing you're doing is you done let Satan fool you, girl. And all you're doing is being prejudiced. And you're just separating people. You're separating everyone from being, and again, equality, you know, I'm not really, you know, equality. We're different, but we're not better. You know what I'm saying? They push equality to try to make us, in today's world, think that there's no difference between man and woman, and that's totally wrong, as I've proved. But it doesn't mean that anyone is better, you know. And if anybody thinks that, they're wrong, you know. And that's what I'm trying to show. So what I'm trying to say is, you got, and don't tell me, because I know all about. I was a pagan more than before I was a Christian. I wasn't a pagan. I've studied. Trust me, I've been around the spiritual world. We'll just put it that way. I know what I'm talking about. And it's been like that for a long time. Originally a lot of them wasn't, but it's been stemming through it. Like if you look at the Wicca religion, that originally was more of a naturalist thing, and it's inspired more towards, over the last 30 years, it's inspired more towards feminists. Many of them have, you know, and it's just, it's all Satan. Even though it's going to be hard, and you know, try to remember the main basics of how we, men and women, do have our own strong points. You know what I'm saying? And how just because a man was biblically, and I ain't saying, you know, anything's possible. None of this was laws. It didn't say if you didn't do this, you were going to burn in hell or anything. This was just God teaching his intentions. So, you know, I'm not saying anything about right or wrong or anything. I'm just saying, just remember we're equal, you know. And if you're such a really strong girl, which a lot of them have been made to be strong due to what Satan's been beating them up, you're just going to have to wait and find yourself a stronger man. And for those men out there that just want to sit home and take care of the kids, that's fine. I understand today's world. Sometimes you have to, whatever. You know, but I'm just saying, the truth is, it's BS. It's all BS. It's all BS. Get off your ass and go take care of your family, man, before another man comes along and does it for you. That's all I got to say. So hopefully it's been a blessing. Paul Staples, GospelProof.com. Make sure you check back in. If you haven't subscribe. And there's a lot to cover here, and I'm trying to make it short, so I hope I wasn't all over the place too much, and hopefully you can understand where I was coming from this. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment. So, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Check back. I'll be back next week with another video. So, it's all good. Bye.